Greetings everyone, my name is Matt Coakley, Creative Director for MagPlus. This video has been previously recorded, however I will be live in the chat room and available to answer all of your questions pertaining to this video or anything and everything related to MagPlus enabled design. So one of the things I want to tackle today is freeing up your time to be able to concentrate more on design and interactivity utilizing the MagPlus platform. One of the biggest issues with the overall development of these type of tablet-based issues is the fact that production or issue setup takes a considerable amount of manual labor. We have developed a couple of things here that if utilized correctly can shave a considerable amount of time off of your front end so that again you can put that back into your design and development on the back end, hopefully turning out products that are award-winning and that clients are willing to pay for. So the very first thing I want to show you guys today is a beta version of what we're calling a PDF script. Now this typically would be used for turning a printed issue design into a MIB or a MagPlus issue bundle so that you can kind of put a replica out there in the storefront. Now our core philosophy at MagPlus is custom design for the appropriate device, but you know there are some people out there who need to get data and content developed quickly, and so we've written a script for that option. Dropping that script, if you've never done one before, into your applications folder, falls into the scripts palette under scripts panel, samples, and JavaScript. There's a MagPlus folder, and this is the one that we can share with you a little bit later today. Again, it is in beta, but it is something that will come in super handy. It will be publicly available with the release of our 5.0 platform later on this year. But I'm going to show you how to utilize it in a manner that will save you tons of time on an issue-by-issue basis. So let's start off with creating a PDF. And we're going to create a blank one because we really just need the pages. So we have a blank InDesign document. I'm going to open up here. And let's say you have an 84-page document. You want to set up 84 pages in your InDesign doc. In this case, just to spare you some of the pain of watching the system run through most of these, I'm going to limit ours to 10. So of course I'm going to hit the Command E button and export an Adobe PDF file, call it sample training. Whatever you name the actual PDF file will be utilized in the ID and the naming convention of your InDesign documents. So you may want to get a bit more brand specific. So in this particular case we'll just edit it to be brand sample training, and we'll even go a little bit deeper and call it, let's say Q3 13 for third quarter 2013. So we're going to go ahead and hit save. Smallest file size doesn't really matter. You're not going to be using the pixel density on the PDF anyway. And then of course you come out here. There's our brand sample PDF. All the pages are blank. Now that seems a little confusing right now because it doesn't make much sense for the custom design option of our system. But this is how it comes into play. When you come into your InDesign interface, pull up your scripts palette from the utilities folder. It can be found under Windows and Utilities. There's the scripts. Then if you follow the same path that I just showed you for the directories, we're coming under Application, Samples, JavaScript, and MagPlus. A double click will activate the PDF script itself. And this is pretty intuitive, this part of it. It looks like a lot of elements, but it is literally point and click and a couple clicks of a button to get up and running. So our PDF document is obviously that brand sample we just created. Template document, this is a MagPlus blank one. We're going to work with the Apple iPad to start, as most people would. Export folder for InDesign files. Point this at a place where you want to store those particular documents. Here you can see a sampling of a couple of pages I have from a previous experiment. We're going to go ahead and hit open and put the rest of these in there. And then our issue folder. For those of you who have experience with MagPlus, you know how important and vital the issue folder is to the overall experience as far as design is concerned. It is exclusively for the software to use. Do not place anything man-made in here, as I remind all of our potential clients and clients alike. And in this particular case, if you're going to be developing for multiple devices, you want to generate an Apple iPad or a folder that is exclusive to the template you're going to be working with. If you're leading with a standard definition Apple iPad, then generate within the issue folder a folder that says Apple space iPad, utilizing a capital A, lowercase I, and a capital P. So we're going to go ahead and click open. Now the next couple of options here, a couple of them are vitally important to how the whole process works. But we're going to export the verticals because we want the XML generated, and we're going to pre-populate all of our production tool with these individual pages so we can go back in and double click and edit files accordingly. Import PDF as a single vertical, this is a no. This is only if you have a 4 or 5 page PDF document that you want to scroll vertically. If you have an 84-page, press-ready PDF, definitely do not check this button. That would be a really tedious page to get through as you're scrolling through the reviewer app. Use linked images is beneficial if you want to retain the pixel density on a particular font. If it's extra spindly, PDFs hold the resolution a little bit better than just a straight JPEG or PNG, which is what's coming out of our system. Place in B layer instead of A main tower. This is a place where you can make a quick decision. I typically place mine on the B layer because if you are doing a PDF replica, you're going to go portrait orientation, and it's going to be just left to right page flipper anyway. You can edit this once you actually export it and open up the individual InDesign docs, which I'll show you in a few moments. Horizontal orientation, most people are leading with portrait anyway, but if you do have a landscape particular document, like a PowerPoint presentation or something where you have generated a PDF out of it, Word, for instance, or some such format, you can definitely display in the landscape. Transparent PDF background, keep this one unchecked. It'll make your file size a little bit smaller. Transparencies will opt for a PNG file format and kind of add a little bit of bulk, ever so slightly amount of bulk, to your overall issue size. Now the next couple elements for this particular type of usage are not really relevant. The only one I would change is the background color to white so that it defaults to that particular color palette. The rest of them you would only utilize for making an actual PDF replica. And we'll cover that, if we haven't already, in another webinar. So we're going to go ahead and click Run. As you can see here, it's opening up the blank InDesign documents, and it's giving the PDF docs a triple-digit numerical prefix for both the InDesign document and the ID. So this is where a lot of that manual labor kind of gets glossed over. It's really, really helpful, and I'll show you one other place where it comes in super handy. For those of you who've seen me do a webinar or a demo in prior weeks, I've always emphasize the idea of using some sort of alphanumerical prefix within your naming conventions so that the production tool can help you simplify your organization cover to cover. So here we are as the InDesign documents. There's alternate variations on each of them, obviously because I had some previously adopted sample training files in here. The issue folder is now populated with my vertical XML. And of course, when we point now from the production tool at that element, you can see here all of my pages embedded within. I'm going to drag and drop them into the pasteboard, bring them over, and as I referred to moments ago, this actually now sorts alphanumerically. So if I click the button on the ID in the list view, you can see here it'll organize according to that triple-digit prefix. So we're going to go ahead and hit Save, come back into our wall view or our preview view, depending on which is easiest for you to navigate. I find the wall view is easier, but preview is good for double checking the depth of the rabbit hole in your designs. So now we can begin designing. Everything is set up. We'll open up page 1 here. Here's our very first document. And you can see there's a blank PDF embedded in here. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that out. And we'll get cranking away on actual design. So the very first thing you want to do is pay attention to your ID. So obviously this is the very first page. The ID matches the naming convention of the InDesign document. I'm going to come in here and call this cover. That's the very first change I want to make. And we're going to keep this as a no-way layer design. I'm going to come over to our swatches palette and give our cover a color. And we'll just give it a little text, as most covers do. Need text to help sell them. And we're going to just do some quick and dirty design work with some default fonts. And we'll center that nice and pretty. So we're going to go ahead and hit export. And now, again, as you can see, I didn't need to go in and direct my issue folder or set up my ID. It's pointing all at the same directory. Now when I hit refresh, there's my updated cover file. Again, bypassing all of that work needed to set up your files just by using a blank PDF in our PDF script. So give us a shout, let us know. We're probably going to put it up there online. It will be available with the Mag Plus 5.0 bundle later on this year. But getting into the design language, some of the other fun things you can now do with the implementation of this workflow is basically experiment. So we're going to show you a couple of different elements here that we want to emphasize are now available with 4.3. One of my favorite things that is currently available is our overlay. This enables you to, again, I'm going to delete out my PDF. This enables you to create a particular permanently designed navigation bar that kind of floats or hovers above all of your design work. So that's as simple as checking off overlay. I'm going to show you a real good use case example of it in a moment. And then basically just to set up your design. So here we're going to actually draw a geometric shape on our B-Slide main content layer. Give it a color. And everything is all set up here. We'll just give it a name, call it overlay. And now we're going to hit export. What that does for us is define that particular page as another object. I'm going to drag it off into our other content. You can see here it's defined as issue overlay. And I did forget to do one thing. You want to make sure on the overlay that your backgrounds are always set to none so that it is in fact transparent. So I'm just going to re-export that real quick. Come back out here and hit refresh. And we'll drag it back over into our other elements. So there we are. I'm also going to lock this to portrait orientation. Now we'll get into kind of designing some other fun elements. Again, deleting out our PDF replica. We'll call this the TOC. I'm just going to add a couple of different graphic elements here. You can imagine these being different entry points on the table of contents. This is just basic Mag Plus functionality, but I want to show you kind of how it all comes together. So now we're going to actually change this over to jump link. We're going to point at different pages, page 5. And of course, with option drag to generate the other link. Go to page 6. And we're going to go to page 7. Now we're working in our RGB color profile here. I'm going to hit save and then export. We're working on page 5, 6, and 7. So we're going to come back in here. We see our TOC updated now. So now I want to update page 5, 6, and 7. To include those elements. So 5 will make blue. If I'm remembering that correctly, we'll double check. It's blue, green, red. We're hitting export. Again, the benefits of utilizing the PDF script allow you to get into design right away. Pages are all set up. You can see here how quickly I'm just adding graphic elements, hitting export. This obviously would apply from a copy and paste perspective. If you have a pre-printed document, you can get into it straight away. There we are. We're hitting export on that. Now we're coming back into the production tool. And we're going to hit review all and push over to our iOS simulator. So there's our cover. There's our TOC with the jump links activated and the overlay. You can see everything scrolling behind it. Clicking on the green bar brings us right back. And jumping over to red as well. Lots of fun to be able to play and experiment with that. You can also hot link and jump link from the overlay. So we're going to open this file up again real quick. Just add a couple of buttons. Go blue, green, and red. So now in addition to a TOC, as far as navigation is concerned, you can jump link from these specific elements as well. You go to jump link, go to page 5, option drag to create the new one, go to page 6, option drag, go to page 7. All right, so we hit export, we update our design, and then when we hit review all, now in addition to the TOC offering navigation, you can navigate from the overlay. Very, very simple to get that rocking and rolling. So these are just some of the basic updates with Mag Plus 4.3, and again, that PDF script will be available with 5.0, and we can send it to you in beta if you promise not to break anything. So going a little bit deeper, I do want to show you some other really cool examples of how Mag Plus is utilized. So I'm going to go ahead and save these down, get rid of these particular elements. And then walk you through how a couple of my favorite pieces of work were created. So here you go. Here's a real good example of thinking outside the box. A few of you who have been privy to Mag+ demonstrations before or webinars may recall this particular design. And this is literally just a basic A-B layer interaction. Our initial design here is on the A main tower. If I zoom out a little bit, you can see how deep the rabbit hole goes on this specific design element. And then our illustration actually lives on the B main content layer. So this, again, is just a different way of thinking about A-B layer design. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to go ahead and fast review. Push this over to our simulator. And this is the current effect that we get. Very, very simple. And again, we can alter this very quickly to look entirely different. I'm going to ungroup it real quick. And we're just going to get rid of these vertical bars that duplicate the illustration. I'm going to come out to the A main tower. Just make sure everything is grouped together. Now when we fast review, it's a much different interpretation. I myself prefer the other one. See how that works? So developing that is really quite simple. I'm going to ungroup this again. Bring back our image blocks. And this time I'm actually just going to delete out the file, because I want to show you how simple it is. It's a vertical frame box. You want to actually copy, and then in there, paste into place. Just like that. And that's how you achieve that kind of vertical scroll separation. Similar function with typography. This one's really, really lovely. Come out and take a look at the simulator again. Again, this is just basic typography turned into outlines and chopped apart in InDesign. If I were to pull these two elements into pieces, or apart from each other, I should say, you can see there how many different elements are spliced together. Some really time-consuming work, but again, when your production doesn't have to be worried about and everything is established for you, you have the free time to be able to generate something this lovely and well thought out. So I want to go a little bit deeper into more structured design, and there's really no pun intended here. I'm going to use some pages from Engineering National Review, or ENR. I hope I have that title right. In this particular case, we've got a huge feature well piece, 8 pages deep, and we've really gone full bore on tweaking this print design for the iPad. We've got some pop-ups throughout, walk you through the actual design. We have a pinch and zoom element up here. Pinch and zoom is now native in the plugin. Literally an image frame. Check off the zoom block, set it to 400%, and you're ready to go. Some other elements, here's pan blocks. Check off pan. We're going to go ahead and hide the scroll bar on this one. And then a slideshow. This one was built with the objects palette and the actual object states element found in InDesign. Really, really simple way. Video streaming, some more panoramic blocks, some more pinch and zoom, some more slideshows. So again, in a matter of a few minutes, I was able to take this pre-printed design, show the actual original document here. This was the document that actually went to press. We're missing a few fonts for it. This is what it looked like in print. So we went from 4 pages to 8 to fit everything in and really explore the custom design elements. All right. So this was a cut and paste option to push into here. And then we'll walk you through the actual interactivity. So again, utilizing that PDF script, I set up my documents early and quickly You can set that to run. ENR is a rather large title. Here's our pan blocks built in as a pop-up. We're going B-layer only design here. Now it's a little difficult to get pinch and zoom to work on a design element in the simulator if it's not in the center of my screen. You can see here I need to be able to have it focused up there. That is pinch and zoom, I promise you. A couple of perpendicular slideshows and scrolling text blocks. Driving out to live web windows for video. Now this particular element, I'm pretty sure I can get to pinch and zoom. There we go. Just need to be able to get those little gray circles. And then of course, a modal pop-up for more information. Going a little bit deeper. B-layer only. Super fun elements. Coming into a different page, this one we've gone with an A-layer only design from the same magazine. You can see it's a little bit shorter, very text heavy as far as the feature is concerned. And we've added here that infographic you saw from the original printed design. It's just a slight variation on the delivery there of that sidebar. So we're going to go ahead and hit Fast Review. And now I'm utilizing the A main tower here because the text was a little bit longer and we didn't have enough art to really support each of the individual pages. So we stretched it out, offered a different delivery method. And again, the option is up to you and your design team. So here we're utilizing the A main tower and snapping in multiple points. You can see here the original design clicks up into the frame, but then we also have this pinch and zoom element right here. Really nice way to introduce that. And that is just a couple of points of snapping. The very first point is the first block. And then you can see here I've got this invisible block here that I've set the snapping to outer top. That's what allows for that next kind of crisp delivery between the headline and the deck and the pinch and zoom element. It's almost like another page coming in to play there. Going a little bit deeper, there's that snapping effect taking place again. This is the A main tower. You can see the text scrolls a bit more fluidly. And I've also applied it here as well. Clicks up into place. Modal pop-ups built throughout to tie back in to the graphic elements from the sidebar. And then this little thumbnail key at the bottom, also functional in the same capacity. Really, really nice, elegant way as far as custom design is concerned. Now, most of you out there are probably much like our clients' experiences are very limited in their art department resources. So cutting back on the amount of time it takes to develop and set up your documents really will help you explore the power of the tool set. So I'm hoping that this was enough to kind of get you guys on your way as far as design and production best practices are concerned. I do want to show you a couple more things just before we sign off. One of which is how to best utilize the overlay in a bit of a better design option. So I'm going to come out here into our production tool again and show you an issue from our friends over at CFO Magazine who are incorporating a overlay into the top half of their design. So this particular magazine is going to tie back into the website and also a PDF replica of the printed title. This one is a custom tablet version, which you can see here. Their overlay at the top allows each individual design to scroll underneath. You have a TOC button that's hot linked, a sharing button that brings up that interface for instantaneous sharing. You also have an RSS feeder. This is really handy, right? That news button delivers the daily content of the day, which is much different than what is actually on the magazine itself. CFO.com is always live from that button over there. So really, really nice interpretation. Hot linking back to letters. You can send you the link on that particular element. Slideshow windows using pan blocks. This is great for advertising. Really big sales point. You can see again, everything scrolling underneath the overlay. This is permanent branding, which is really, really nice in this day and age. It's a bit more of an app-like look and feel than an issue-based design. We have this most popular element over here as well, which is hot linked out to specific stories. This is done with a little bit of HTML wizardry from the team over there at CFO. So again, really, really elegant application of our overlay function. So that, my friends, is kind of what's new and breaking in the world of design for Mag+. If you have any questions, be happy to continue to field them after this video has finished running, and I can scrub back to a couple places if you'd like. So please feel free to reach out. If you need me directly after this closes, I can be reached at Matt, M-A-T-T, at magplus.com, and I'd be more than happy to help you out and help you troubleshoot anything or even brainstorm creatively. All right, best of luck all, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with using Mag+.